Hey there guys, Octavian here. This is going to be another Challenger Cast episode. I believe this one is episode 9. We're getting pretty well on there into the numbers. It's going to be a bit of a special episode, but we'll get into that in a second. The hook lands on a Skinzor over the wall from Mithy's Blitzcrank, and the Ignite is dropped as well. There's the knockup coming from Rek'Sai, and the knockup counter as well as the Ignite tell them exactly which LeBlanc clone to chase, and Pooks flashes over the wall, but he casts his transfusion onto the wrong target, so Skinzor manages to barely escape by the Skinzor of his teeth. Yeah, my humor is bad. Pook's gonna head on back home to base there, regenerate what health he lost, as Alex Itch makes a final sort of token effort at chasing down the LeBlanc, but she is long, long gone. And as I was saying, this replay is a fairly special one compared to most of the Challenger casts. Indeed, most of the replays that I get. It's going to be a ranked 5s one up in the Masters tier, which you know means it's going to have a lot of interesting action, and not even just action, but also just interesting map movements, strategical play, picks, and team comps, and all those nice things. Also, the side of blue team, the team picking up the blue banners today, is going to be Team Origen, which is the team that's been making the rounds on the Reddit rumor threads. Everybody thinks every EUS player is going to be joining there. But it looks like we're going to be able to see at least some of the potentials for that team. Alex Itch and Mithy down on the bottom side of the map here. Going to be going ahead and starting off by pushing, hoping to get that early level 2. The Graves Blitzcrank level 2 is incredibly strong, but then again, so is Leona Draven. But the nice hook lands onto Mick the Best, and Mithy here is trading with this Draven incredibly well, while Geller tries to do the same to Alex Itch, but just can't pull it off quite as easily. And Leona's going to be forced to back away, taking a buckshot as she leaves. Both Leona and Draven drop to half health, forced to pop some potions here. Actually, Draven is holding on to his. He's letting the Relic Shield do its work, as well as that small amount of lifesteal that the Doran's Blade is going to give him to try and sustain back into this lane. But Mithy and Alex Itch have hit level 2, and the Ignite is dropped into Geller, as well as the knockup going to be chasing after him. The flash is burned. Can he land the hook? Max range, despite the heal. Mithy hits the hook, and first blood is going to be going over to Alex Itch's Graves, as Kazakh's had a little bit of trouble in the jungle there. And that's something weird. I didn't really expect to be saying Alex Itch's Graves this game. Usually you don't see him down there on the bottom side of the map. He's renowned for his mid lane play, but today he's going to be showing us what he can do on AD carry, and already picking up the first blood here. Not even 3 minutes into the game when that happened. Pretty effective so far. I'm starting to be convinced. Mithy and Alex Itch are going to keep on pushing though, get that level advantage, get the minions under the turret so that Draven loses out on CS, while Skinzor and Pooks go at it in the mid lane, and that is a matchup I actually did want to mention. It's an interesting one. You don't see Vladimir mid too often. LeBlanc is finding her way back into the meta here, despite her nerfs a little while ago that made her fall to the wayside. She is coming back into her own. But Vladimir never really has had his time in the sun, at least not as a mid laner. So it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. It looks like Pooks is actually having a decent time of it already. He's built up a 7 CS lead, and since we're only 4 minutes into the game, that's actually fairly significant. That means 1 or 2 CS per wave has been lost so far. So some good zoning work by Pooks' Vladimir. Good CSing as well. It's really annoyingly difficult to last hit with those Vladimir auto attacks, I find. He's one of the champions that I just have never been anywhere near competent with, so I have respect for people who can play him well. Pooks doing some good damage to Skinzor as he comes in for the trade. Gets traded about evenly, but Vladimir trading evenly is perfectly fine for him, since transfusion does allow him to sustain back up in that lane really, really effectively. And the last lane that we have yet to really give much notice to is this top lane where the camera's focusing right now, as it swaps down to bottom lane for a quick glance. Mithy and Alex Itch looking to maybe make another play happen, but it looks like the next play is going to be in mid lane. Pooks forced to use the pool to escape from a gank, as the next gank of the game is going to be top lane, when he's already getting that slowing smite, dropping it right onto Kassadin, who does not have level 6 yet, flashes, but gets knocked up anyway. Sion going to be finishing off that kill. 2-0 so far for Team Origen. 1 in the bottom, 1 in the top. The buckshot doesn't connect, and Mick actually landed an auto attack, so that was a good trade for them. But in the middle lane, the Ignite is dropped into Skinzor. The Ignite on Pooksy is burning as well. They're both going to be falling over. TF and Skinzor getting the kill, and then Vladimir returning in kind. Both Ignites. One of them post-mortem, one of them just barely pre-mortem. I would honestly say that even trade goes fairly in favor of the side of Vladimir. However, The Kha'Zix is doing his best, if you look at the minimap there, to try and get it back in favor of LeBlanc by pushing up the minion wave, getting it under that tower so that Vladimir loses some CS while he is dead, and so that the lane bounces back to the middle of the lane so that it's not at a disadvantageous position for LeBlanc when she gets back to that lane. So, well done by Kha'Zix there. Good map rotations, good pressure, good strategy all over. I could not find the word, so I used 3 different ones. Hopefully one of them was correct. Auto attack from Mick, the best landing, and that is one of the things I like to do as Draven, just toss in an auto attack then leave. He trades so well that way, but too quiet to live. Doesn't have level 6 again, and Amazing is doing well, an amazing job keeping good pressure up there in the top lane. No, stand aside, lands onto both members, but the hook is still live and is going to land onto Geller, the knockup following as well. Some good damage onto the Leona support, but Draven was left untouched. So this actually could be quite a big deal for the side of Batia's bottom lane, given that Origen did have a lead before, but Draven has started to be able to pull into the lead in terms of CS. And if he's able to get a kill at any point, he has not died, so he has not lost any stacks. He's been stacking up for the last 7 minutes or so. He could cash in and actually be fairly far ahead of Alex Ich if he managed to pick up a kill, but then again, that is a fairly big if. They've got to pick a favorable fight here. Might be the Kha'Zix wants to roam down, but it's very, very warded up down there on the bottom side of the map. If you look down there, there is a pink ward in the try and a green ward in the small river bush, so probably no possibility of a Kha'Zix gank, especially considering that they're pushed up. As we swap over to the middle lane, where it looks like Rek'Sai might be roaming to get a gank. No, Rek'Sai's roaming into the jungle again. Might be going top lane if you look at the minimap. But then again, we are back at the mid lane where Hemoplague has been dropped onto Skinzor. He's going to leap away. That's going to proc and pop and bring him down a little bit lower, but the Vladimir ulti traded for the ulti of LeBlanc is a very good trade for LeBlanc, as we see by the fact that Skinzor still had enough cooldowns to go for the follow-up when Kha'Zix came in for the first gank of the game for him, or first successful gank of the game for him. And too quiet to live now, having that Rift Walk. Probably never going to get hit by the Scion knockup again unless there are fairly extenuating circumstances, so probably not going to be seeing Amazing's Rek'Sai go up to the top lane very many more times. Took advantage of that laning phase, of that weak Kassadin laning phase, put him behind, but now that he's at level 6, it's going to be a lot harder to actually bring him down. He's behind in farm, though, and he's died twice, giving up one of the kills to Scion and one of them to Rek'Sai, who, speaking of Rek'Sai, is screaming and ulting in. Just coming back to the jungle, though. Fairly anticlimactic. Screeches to announce to the whole map that he's going to be going back to his own jungle, and I just realized that the side of Origen does have both of the global loud ultimates on their side, though I suppose Nocturnes also plays a sound for the entire team, so if they had a Nocturne mid or something like that, that would be the Holy Trinity, and if you cast those all at once, it would be terrifying as all hell, and now I really want to make a team comp and play that way. Nocturne mid, Rek'Sai jungle, and Scion top, and then just coordinate with everybody so that you all press R at, like, within a second of each other, and just everybody in the enemy team gets absolutely terrified. But Rek'Sai coming in for the gank on the bottom lane. It was warded up, though, so they saw that Finn creeping through the ground towards them, and so they're going to be able to escape as too quiet to live. Brought down to half health by the trade from Scion, and while he can pretty much avoid any hard engage, his ult is not so short a cooldown that he can avoid like all of the poke that a Scion can put out by shouting at minions a lot in that lane. So, gonna mean that he is gonna be traded down whenever he comes up to go for the CS, since Kassadin is still a melee laner. And, he just really can't touch Scion right now. That early Spectre's Cowl doing quite a lot of work. Kassadin has absolutely no way to damage him. Hook nearly connecting from Mithy, trying to sneak it in between the minions there, but Mick the Best was a little bit too far away for the Power Glove to land and pull him in. So we're going to swap back up to the top lane, where looks like it's just a bit of trading going on. Quiet to Live and Touch My Tagada trading back and forth, but in the middle lane we have one more explosive fight. Pook's going to be going down, killing spree for Skinzor's LeBlanc. Rek'Sai's going to be getting the shutdown gold, though. I am surprised that Skinzor is able to come back into a killing spree there, but Alex Ich is getting stunned out by the Solar Flare right after the Shield of Daybreak lands. Teleports from both teams coming down to this bottom side of the map. Kassadin going to be coming in a little bit after Scion does, but it looks like Playblaker is around as well. Hooked in, but not quite into the knockup. And they're playing with fire right here. It is a 2v4. Okay, 3v4 because Alex H does choose to come back from his basing animation to get back here. But Rek'Sai is rushing to the bottom lane with the ulti, getting to that tunnel, roaming into the fight here. And knockup after knockup is landing. And this has turned disastrous for the side of Purple Team. Origen going to be picking up a double kill there onto their Rek'Sai. Amazing is 4-0-1. Picking up the new jungler with style. That semi-global ult paying off, allowing him to get to the bottom side of the map quickly enough to help out his team. And Kazakh's looking to go for the steal here. Does flash in to get it! Trades his life for it, but that is entirely #worth. Skinzor might be falling over as well. Does land the snare onto Amazing. Dodges away from the slow as well. So it looks like there's going to be Kazakhs traded for a Baron, and not a Baron, a Dragon. And that's certainly worth picking up there since the Dragon buff is entirely permanent. And a death in League of Legends is only a temporary condition. So getting that extra 6% damage is going to be helping them for the rest of the game here. Well done by Playblaker, really blaking the plays. We have a little bit of a quieter moment on the map here. So, you guys know what that means. You can take a look down at the item builds on the bottom side of the screen there. Looks like Kassadin's going to be going for a Rod of Ages into a tier, so going to be taking a long time to stack up here, but once he does, he will be quite effective. So it's going to be a long game for the top lane of the side of Batya, and Mithy maybe looking to go for some sort of engage here. Lands the knockup, lands the easy hook right afterwards, and despite all of their best ultimates, the bottom side of Team Batya is going to be going down. Another double kill picked up by Amazing's Rek'Sai. Playing that new champion to maximum potential right now. Doing quite a bit of work. Looks to be building into some damage early on there. That is the Warrior Enchantment and a Hex Drinker. That's going to be a lot of pain coming out from the ground-dwelling Void Beast. Speaking of Void Beast, Kazakhs is near the mid lane. Gets pinged out though, so realizes that he's spotted. Actually finds the pink ward in the jungle that did spot him and is going to be taking that one out swiftly as he likes. As LeBlanc continues to trade well with Vladimir here in the middle lane. There's the Ignite drop, the chain lines as well, the snare procs, and TSM Playblaker is here to try and follow up. Void Spike though doesn't quite connect as Vladimir flashes away. Flash burned for Ignite. That is a worthy trade, I would say, from Skinzor's LeBlanc, especially considering that he's going to be able to get some damage on the turret perhaps here. No, Mithy's showing up. He wants blood. He throws out the hook, but LeBlanc is not going to be hit by that one. Playblaker, however, is in a 1v1 fight with Amazing, who is legendary at this point. Firing off that long-range dart underground, picking up the kill. Pooks and Mithy going to push up the mid lane. Vladimir and Blitzcrank, friends forever. As the minion gets shot right back into the LeBlanc. Some good damage from Touch My Tagada there, who's going to be pressing the R key and chasing down through the jungle. Amazing is legendary once more. As Vladimir finishes off the turret in the middle lane. Oddly enough, despite the explosive nature of this game so far, we have not had any turrets other than that one fall in the middle lane. The hook does not quite land onto Geller. And they're going to go and try and make it 2, but there are 3 members of Batya here, and the Ignite's going to be bringing Pooks down as he tries to escape. Skinzor's clone wandering away to the other side of the team fight as he's going to wander away back to the safer side of the team fight. Distortioning back to his platform after picking up a kill. Ooh, Playblaker tries to dodge, but there's just too many things coming his way. Manages to avoid the hook, but gets hit by the Scion knockup as a consequence. And then taken out by Blitzcrank's ulti. I love Scion's auto attacks onto towers. A lot of the newer champions have great auto attacks when they go to towers. Geller gets knocked up. Squishes a tunnel or 2. Yep. That's an interesting mechanic. That it's not like it doesn't take damage if you auto attack it or something, like a lot of other things which people can put down, like Teemo mushrooms if you disable them and things like that. Rather, you just stand on it for a little while and it goes away. Unlike Teemo... Well, I suppose Teemo mushrooms, you also can stand on them and they'll go away. But so will your health. Ooh, very quick reflexes on that R key from Too Quiet to Live. He's kind of playing with fire here, though. But to be fair, Blitzcrank hook is down, and he knows that for a fact since he got pulled in by it, so taking the risks that he knows he's able to pull off. Skinzor interrupting Touch My Tag at his base. Has amazing tunnels on in, flashes forward, but doesn't land the knockup onto anybody. That's a slow into Too Quiet to Live, but it doesn't do very much damage. It scales with AP, but rather than AD. And he's going with a very, very hefty AD build, since AP Rek'Sai is just silly. I'm sorry if that's what you love to play, but it is very, very silly. It can also be fun. Oftentimes the silly things are the fun things. Minions being killed. That's a story that gets told every game. I'm going to go ahead and try and contest this jungle camp, actually. Who will get it? Who will get it? Amazing will get it. Knocks up Kha'Zix as well in the process. Does a little bit of damage and then backs right on out. Ooh, nice Solar Flare landing on 3 people. The Draven ult follows up as well. Lots of damage coming out onto Origen, but nobody has fallen quite yet. Playbreaker going to finally finish off Vladimir as Leona takes down Alex Ich's Graves. Shutdown gold from the legendary Amazing going to be going into the pockets of Skinzor. And that is the first decisive win of any of these fights so far from the side of Batia. Very well played. Beautiful Leona ult. I mean, just very, very, very on point engaged there from the side of Geller. Well played. Go back to another quiet moment here on the map, though, as Playbreaker might have a little bit of a rough time with that Gromp camp, and Quiet to Live, he doesn't have enough ult. He doesn't have enough mana to ult, but he does turn around and he lands the auto attack, empowered with his W, giving him some mana back. Now he's going to be able to ult in just a few seconds here, but he doesn't really need to, actually. Mithy taking way too much damage from some of his teammates, but he's going to be able to drop the Ignite before he dies. Too Quiet to Live, getting cocky and staying in range of that. Gets taken out post-mortem by Mithy's Blitzcrank. That's what you get for standing around when you should be running away. Pook's roaming through the jungle, looking to get some CS. Keep those stacks up on Tides of Blood. You can actually just cast it even when there's nobody nearby. So long as it is cast, it'll get you a stack, even if it doesn't hit any enemies. However, it will damage you, and you won't get any health back because you didn't hit anybody. So it's a trade-off. It means your damage is up once you do need to fight later on, but it also means that your health is probably a little bit lower. At this point, however, this Vladimir has a ton of health with which to work, seeing as he's built a good amount of AP. Alex Itch going to be going down as Skinzor shows up. LeBlanc very, very good at taking out lone AD carries, especially with the help of a friendly jungler. And Amazing looking to try and respond in kind with a pick of their own. They're going to be able to pick it up. Vladimir taking that kill as Mick the Best gets pulled in as well. Very nicely placed hook by Mithy. Draven going to be falling over as Amazing goes in for the continued follow-up fight. But both Kha'Zix and LeBlanc can leap away. Mithy, though, wants to pull one of them back in. The hook! He was predicting continued movement from Playbreaker, who just decided to stand entirely still. Well juked by Playbreaker's Kha'Zix. Well done. Touch My Tag it up. In a little bit of a 1v1 here with Too Quiet to Live. That's kind of been the story of the game for these two. Sitting alone in the top lane, and now they're sitting alone in the mid lane. They've just changed map locations. Haven't really changed what they're doing. Touch My Tag is just entirely ignoring Kassadin. He hasn't really built for the rest of the map here. He's built basically just for Kassadin. He's got that Spirit Visage, and on top of that, another Spectre's Cowl. That is a ridiculous amount of magic resistance. Make the Best stand aside, doesn't land because Pooks manages to pool it, and then the Hemoplague popping brings that Draven down. Geller is in a lot of trouble now. He's getting hooked back into the team, and he might be very tanky, but he's not quite tanky enough to survive the 10-1 Rek'Sai. That is Amazing. Tunneling forward, trying to continue on this fight. Playbreaker gets slowed up by the shout from Touch My Tagada, and then brought down by the huge axe coming out of the sky. Two-handing that one, taking the kill onto the bug. Amazing, tunneling his way through the enemy jungle. Fires out a slowing shot, but it doesn't quite land. Can Mithy land the hook? He's roaming around, but he doesn't quite get in range for the knockup, and he doesn't fire the hook, so they're just going to go ahead and take the turret instead of going for the kill on LeBlanc. Would have been difficult to take her out anyways. Always difficult to land a skill shot onto a skilled enemy LeBlanc, and despite the fact that Red Team is having a bit of a tough time of it, Skinzor has shown himself to be quite a skilled LeBlanc this game. Amazing. Bringing down Kassadin as Mithy's going to be in some trouble. Skinzor going to be finishing him off. Stand Aside and Solar Flare both miss onto Alex Itch, though. One quick draw gets him out of all of the trouble he was in. And so he's going to be perfectly fine. And for a little bit, at least. At some point, he's probably going to be back in the face of danger once again. That is the Alexis we know and love. Geller taking some damage here from Pooks, but Skinzor has shown up. He pools to avoid the distortion damage, but he just saves the distortion and comes in and does some good damage right after the pool ends. The Ignite is dropped onto Draven. It's just kind of a precautionary measure as they're going to wander away back through the jungle. And Sion charges in the mid lane. Where's he going with that? Looks like he's trying to engage, but he's 1v3. Too quiet to live is going to be slowing him down as Geller's going to be coming in for the stun. But he's so very tanky, he might just be able to get out of here. He is slowed up. He is trying his best to get away. He flashes over the wall. The sigil's still on his head, as now the rest of his team has shown up. It was the most delayed engage I have ever seen, but it worked. It worked in the end. Amazing kills one of them, and Pooks is around to clean up another. They're going to go ahead and take down the middle inhibitor tower here at 21.5 minutes into the game. We are 6-0 up in turrets for the side of Origen. 13 kills higher as well, and nearly 20,000 gold up there. Well, I say nearly, more like, it is actually more like 13 or 14,000 gold up, but I want it to be 20. That would be cool. I have dreams too. Mithy lands a hook onto Playblaker, and he gets brought down nearly instantly, pulled right into the face of danger. Geller going to be flying in there, trying to land a stun onto somebody important. Alex Itch nearly going down. Pooks flashing away as well. Nobody is falling, but everybody's getting away with barely any health left, and Kassadin is finally going to be fixing that. He gets the kill onto Vladimir and Graves as Rek'Sai falls to LeBlanc. There is Geller going to be falling over, but so far it is a 3-for-1 trade for the side of Batya, and this is the sort of thing they need to be able to get back into this game. The slow lands onto Mithy. Touch My Tagada, though, is going to be the next target of their ire as Mithy stands there laughing at them. I don't really think they can finish these off. They do have the red buffs from Skinzor, though, and a lot of damage. Maybe I was wrong. They get the kill, but Touch My Tagada is going to be coming back to life, and if they don't get away quickly, they might be falling over. Thankfully, they are... at least Skinzor is able to get away. Kassadin dies to the passive from Sion, and Skinzor is the last man left standing. Rek'Sai, where are you going? Ulting into the enemy wolf camp and counter-jungling it away. That's what Rek'Sai's ult is for. Counter-jungling a wolf camp. Woo! Super minions pushing up the middle lane. Playblaker doing his best to deal with them, but it's going to get more and more difficult as time goes on here. And Amazing just finished off a Frozen Heart. That's a pretty big deal. Pink ward placed, and pink ward immediately taken out. As Mick the Best goes for the blue buff. Not because it's best to have the blue buff on Draven, but just because they have limited time before the enemy team again takes complete control of their own jungle. And so they want to be able to clear the buffs as quickly as they possibly can. And if that means giving it to Draven, then they'll give it to Draven. But thankfully LeBlanc was able to show up in time to be able to take it for herself. Skinzor probably going to be a better target for that blue buff to be on. At least in Batya's opinion. For the other side, Origen probably wouldn't have wanted it on either of them. Baron, perhaps the next target for Origen. They're getting some good pressure in the middle lane, and they could probably rotate over the Baron. They have a Vladimir who's doing quite a lot of sustaining, so he could probably tank it up for them. But it looks like they just want to go for some more map pressure. Pushing up the mid lane, keeping that lane shoved with the super minions in it, making sure that Batya has to deal with that over and over again, while a few members of the team swap up to the top lane and go for the split push. All 5 of Batya are here dealing with the minions in the middle lane, as well as Touch My Tagada's Sion. And Mithy's sitting in the bush looking to get a pick onto somebody, but it was warded. He sweeps it out, so he figures that out, but too quiet to live. Alex Itch is just like 1v5ing. He scared them all away. I mean, admittedly, he did have a lot of his team as backup just around the corner, but for a few seconds there, he was kind of all alone in the face of 5 people, and he manages to get the kill onto Geller. There is Draven's going to be falling over as well, as Playblaker nearly brings down Pooks. Finally, Skinzor is able to be legendary and take him out, but gets shut down by Amazing. Well played LeBlanc so far this game, but it just has not been enough. They're going to go after the top lane inhibitor turret. Touch My Tagada. He's actually getting burned down pretty low. Okay, he manages to get out of there before falling. And they're going to go ahead and crumble that top lane turret to bits. Ooh, too quiet to live going in onto Alex Itch, but that might not have been the best decision. He still had heal up, and so he's going to turn around with a few crits and a buckshot. Get the kill onto the armorless Kassadin. Hasn't picked up a single armor item yet. Probably going to be going into a Zhonya's Hourglass at some point to deal with all the AD on the other side, but Even if they do that, there's still a bunch of AP coming out from Vladimir. Does good AoE damage. Ooh, shutdown! Going over to LeBlanc there, as Geller's going to be landing the Solar Flare on 3 members of the enemy team. Mick the Best finishes off Mythy, gets a bunch of stacks back from that. That's going to be a pretty big deal. They might be able to hold on to this game a little bit longer, but Touch My Tagada is just so tanky. Nobody can damage the guy. He's only at half health, and he's been tanking 4 people for the last 5 or 6 seconds. Nobody can hurt him. He presses the R key. He's finally going to be going down. Nick the Best brings him down, but then they have to contend with the passive. Very nicely contended with, actually. They are keeping him away from everyone. Nobody's able to... He doesn't manage to land a single hit in his death passage onto anybody. But that is the top inhibitor down. Despite all the deaths that Origen suffered, they still have Super Minions pushing into the middle lane for a little bit longer. And Super Minions pushing into the top lane for a good while longer, since they did just get that one, yeah. The mid lane inhibitor is going to be respawning soon, according to the lady who talks about the game. And yeah, there you go, the crystals summoning up from the bottom. The respawn animation is just as cool as the destruction animation. I love all the effort that's gone into the new map. Very, very well done, Riot. Rek'Sai screeching and ulting and flying across the map up to the top side. But kind of all alone up there. Amazing doesn't have any backup for a little while. Might be in some trouble. Skins are going to be going in onto him. He tunnels over the wall, but he gets bound up. Anyway, there's the snare landing from the block along with the stun. Make the Best kiting backwards as best he can. And Too Quiet to Live is going to be finishing off that kill. Amazing. Taking a little bit more of a risk than perhaps he could. Mythy looking to flash in and pull in Too Quiet to Live. He saw that he didn't have enough mana to cast it and ulti away, so he landed the hook knowing that he wouldn't be able to escape. Now Playblaker is going to be the next target here. Too Quiet to Live being fairly tanky, actually having finished off his Rod of Ages, does manage to get away, but there's the hook once again. Mythy does not miss these things. Touch My Tagada is going to be finishing him off, while on the bottom side of the map, Alex Itch and Pooks were both split pushing this whole time. They're going to be able to finish off the inhibitor. No, maybe not. I don't know. Solar Flare doesn't quite connect onto Alex Itch. He flashes away from that one, and they trade kills. Kassadin and Graves killing each other, finishing each other off. Pooks is going to finish off Mick the Best, and finally the inhibitor falls. And this looks like the end of the line here for the side of Batia. Origen is grouping near their Nexus turrets. One of them falls to Super Minions. Mythy and a bunch of Super Minions are punching onto the other one. That one's going to be falling over fairly shortly. Looks like it's going to be GG for the side of Origen. Well played by everybody. Skinzor gets a final retaliatory kill as Vladimir pulls in onto the fountain. And Touch My Tagada and Mythy are going to take their time about this one. Go after it. Amazing has showed up though, and that's another inhibitor falling. Not quite sure how important that is, but hey, it happened. And so the giant inhibitor in the enemy base, known as the Nexus, can be falling to Super Minions. Thank you guys for watching. Well played by everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be around again tomorrow, probably. It is the holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate, by the way. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to get an upload in tomorrow or not, but I will try. And thank you guys for sticking around. See you later.